Thank you, Zoom lady. Hi, my name is Dan. My pronouns are he, him. I am playing a game called World of Gamma here for Gauntlet Community Open Gaming. This is the Gauntlet's sort of quarterly online convention for gaming. So we are playing a one-shot of World of Gamma. World of Gamma is a game of my own design, and it is an homage to Gamma World from TSR in the 1970s and 80s. I'm going to ask my players to introduce themselves. I will then go over safety tools, and then I'll talk about the game in general, and then we will make characters. So I'm going to go in order that they arrived. So Dan, can I ask you to introduce yourself first?
Yeah, my name is Dan Pusel. I use he, they pronouns. I am a technical theater educator in North Texas.
Sweet. Thanks, Dan. Nice seeing you again. Tom?
Okay, well, I'm probably the new guy around here. Played a handful of D&D one-shots over decades. Been looking at PBTA a lot the last couple of years. Currently playing in a Dungeon World campaign right now.
Fantastic. That's a great intro to PBTA. Thanks for joining us, Tom. We're really happy to have you. Adrian.
Hi, I'm Adrian. He, him pronouns. I'm from Germany. Been with the Gauntlet since 2019 and looking forward to playing this. I haven't played Gamma World, but I'm interested in, I work at the university. I'm kind of teaching about role-playing games at the moment. I'm interested in the history of role-playing games. And so I'm interested in Gamma World and World of Gamma as well.
Fantastic. Thanks for coming. And Jeff.
Hey, everybody. Jeff Hunt, and he, him pronouns, longtime player of indie games. Probably the last time I played Gamma World was 1986, but was a big fan of the game at the time. Also an educator, and this is my second game on the Gauntlet, my first being this morning. So,
fantastic. Welcome.
Yeah.
Very cool. I discovered the Gauntlet maybe 2 years ago, and it's been just such a great opportunity to get back into role-playing. Because you're participating in this game, if you would like to join the Gauntlet Slack, which is kind of an online chat platform, let me know, and I can get you all invites to that. If you like talking about role-playing games and topics in the orbit of role-playing games, it's a great little community. All right, so let's talk World of Gamma. I'm going to share my screen. Sometimes that can be a little disorienting for folks, so just let me know if this gets to be too much. I've shared with you all the Google Drive where I have all of these materials. I'm going to post that to our chat so you have it one more time. And where I'm going to start is with this thing called CATS. CATS stands for Concept, Aim, Tone, and Subject Matter. This is a tool that we frequently use on the Gauntlet to kind of describe a game and sort of level set with everybody what we're talking about. So the concept of this game is that there are mutant animals or humans with animal features adventuring in a familiar post-apocalyptic Earth. My favorite parts of Gamma World were the mutant animals. My favorite parts of Gamma World were the fact that it all took place on Earth and that they were very familiar settings. So that's the game that I sought to create. Our aim is to explore a world rebuilding decades after a devastating event. In my mind, no one really remembers the devastating event, so it's been far enough in the past that we're not really sort of dwelling on what happened and more just where we are right now and what can we do to build a new world. I really like kind of adventure. My games are generally PG-13. I run a lot of games with kids, so that's sort of the tone that we hit, not too dark. I really like kind of bizarre tech. I really like hints of familiar places and things like that. So that's really the tone that we're going for. That being said, we're talking about a post-apocalyptic era, so there will be devastation. We're talking about mutation, people and animals looking and acting different, and of course, it is a game. It could involve some violence, right? If we delve into combat. So that's the overall concept of the game. My question for you is, do you have any questions? And are there any aspects that you would like to emphasize or de-emphasize in this game? Any parts of this kind of genre that you are especially interested in exploring or especially want to avoid?
I kind of got a Thundar the Barbarian vibe off of this. So anything that kind of brings us in there.
Gosh, those are words I have not heard in a long time. That's fantastic. I'm gonna have to look that one up to remind myself of that particular cartoon. Jeez, gosh, that brings back memories. All right. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a little bit of fantasy adventuring in here with some weird tech. I love that. That's great. Other thoughts, other things you would like to see evoked as we explore this world?
Given the setting, Gonzo is good.
Yes.
On violence, maybe not guts spilling all over the place, but dispatch them quietly.
Yes. Yeah. Quiet, sort of cartoon violence is sort of where we end up. That actually brings us to safety tools. So let me go there. The Gauntlet takes safety tools very, very seriously. I always use 3 in my games. Maybe this is the first time you are hearing about some of these, so I want to walk through them. The first one is called Open Door or Open Table. This simply means you are empowered to get up and walk away from this table or turn off the Zoom anytime you want. You do not have to worry about hurting my feelings. You do not have to worry about hurting anyone else's feelings. Your safety and comfort is paramount to me, even more important than this game. So if there's anything that makes you feel uncomfortable, you should feel free to walk away. This is also true if you have obligations outside this game that suddenly crop up. I've had pets suddenly get sick, so I need to walk away. I've had other things happen in my home that have said, you know what, I need to walk away from this game. That is totally okay, and that is Open Table. If you can set our expectations about when you'll be back, great. Just type a message into the chat. If I need to step away as the GM, give me 10 minutes. If I'm not back in 10 minutes, we can consider the game called and over. So that's, we call that Open Door or Open Table. The next one is called X-Card. X-Card is a very popular tool. We use it a lot online. X-Card means when a subject matter or a topic or even just the narrative goes into a direction that you don't like, you can simply say, I would like to X-Card that, or X-Card, or hold your hands up like this, or type an X into the chat. We're going to be using a dice roller, which I'm showing now on the screen. It's got an X-Card button. You can even click X-Card there, and it'll pop up there. My policy is if you X-Card, we'll just rewind and we'll read you the narrative. Most of the people that I've played with have said, I want to X-Card that. Let's think of something else. I've had people X-Card NPC names because it reminds them of a past relationship. I've had them X-Card, I don't know, facts from a character's past because it makes them uncomfortable. So again, my aim is your comfort. So if you feel like a certain detail is X-carded or makes you uncomfortable, X-card it. and we'll find something else. There are about 1 million ideas, so we were not going to run out of cool things to talk about. So that is XCard. Are there any questions about Open Door or XCard? Alrighty, let's do the last one. I'm sharing on my screen lines and veils. This is our last or the third safety tool that I use. A line is a topic that we are not going to bring into the story. For example, I always check off harm to children, right? It's just not going to happen in our story. I'm a dad. I don't like even if I weren't, I don't like the idea of conceiving us having fun by telling a story about children being harmed. Another one, sexual assault, just doesn't even enter into the stories that I tell. You all should have access to this character keeper. I will share it again.
We do, but I think we are just viewers at the moment.
Fascinating. Oops. I only use Google Docs in my work every day, all day. Why would I mess this one up? All right, so here we are. You should jump onto the character keeper. This is in the safety and resources tab. You should take a moment. I'll stop sharing. Take a moment to check off the topics that you would like us to line or veil. Veiled topics are those topics that we might refer to, but don't want to elaborate on. So someone said earlier, maybe a little bit of violence is okay, but I don't want to go into great detail about the gory details. 100% correct. We are going to veil violence, right? We're going to say so-and-so gets injured, but we won't go into great detail as to what exactly that entails. I am just not a big fan of eye injuries, so I always veil that guy. The one thing I will point out is sometimes we have harm to animals here. And of course, we're playing a game that involves animals of various sorts. So what I sometimes, what I'll add is harm to domestic animals. Animals who can't fight back, essentially. I will give you all a couple of minutes to kind of go through that and line and veil anything you would like. Some GMs will kind of then read those out loud. I don't feel the need to do that unless you would like me to, but let's keep these in mind as we move forward. Jeff, were you able to get in?
I can see it, but it's still view only for me.
Did you reload?
I will do that.
Perfect, thanks. All right, so take a moment, go through those topics. If you want to add any topics, please do so at the bottom of the list. When you're done, if you could just type done or give me a thumbs up into the chat, that would be great.
One question. What's medical injustice entail?
Oh, yeah, it's a good question. So through the Gauntlet, I've met lots of people, including some folks in countries that we in the U.S. might refer to as in the developing world or in the third world, and they don't have access to the same medical treatments that we do. And highlighting those disparities made them uncomfortable. So,
okay. All set.
great, thanks so much. What I'm going to do is test my Excel or my Google Sheets skills. All right, so I've sorted our lines and veils sheet. So we've got lines at the top and veils immediately following. Feel free to update this at any time, honestly. You think of something or you hear the story heading in a direction you don't want it to go, please say something. I'd rather us kind of be upfront about that stuff. All right, the one other thing I will introduce before we dive in is our dice roller. This is actually a dice roller created by someone on the Gauntlet community, a guy named John, who I've played with a bunch of times. He is very cool, and he's got a really nice dice roller here. So if you've never used one of these before, it's pretty straightforward. You click on the dice that you want to roll, and you hit roll, which is a button towards the bottom of this screen. Since we're playing PBTA, you are mostly rolling 2d6. You may end up rolling with advantage, in which case you'll be rolling with 3d6. So you click the dice, and then you can add a modifier just above the roll button. There's a place where you can add a modifier. So when we cross that bridge, or when we get to that bridge, we will cross it and walk through that. That's where we're at. I am done with business. I'm ready to get to character creation. Does anyone have any questions before we do that? Very cool. All right, so we're going to do this by the book. We're just going to walk through this. Not a ton of options because it is a one-page RPG. The PDF is in that Google Drive, and I'm going to follow the character creation. Do I have like specific instructions? No. And we'll just kind of work our way down here. So if you've played on the Gauntlet, played online, maybe you've seen one of these character keepers before. Basically, in lieu of a character sheet, we are now storing everything in Google Sheets or a spreadsheet because we are giant nerds. But also because it's a convenient way to do it. So here's what we'll do. We'll start at the top and work our way down. Be sure to start thinking about kind of what kind of character you're playing. You are largely humanoid. You are a humanoid with some animal features. So that's kind of generally what we're going for. I've got some sample images at the bottom from one of my favorite similar games to Gamma World, which was After the Bomb. There were a lot of cool illustrations of mutant animals in there. So why don't we skip over character name and start with species. So you'll see in the species type, that's line 6, there are different kind of categories of species. So select one that you think works best. So I've got Dan in the first column. I've got Jeff in the second. It looks like Tom, you'll be in the third purpley column, and Adrian is in the fourth column there. I already like where this is going. So we are on line 6. Species type is a category that kind of generally gives you a sense of overall what you're going for. If you like, you can specify a specific species. So for example, Jeff's indicated that his ancestor species type is a rodent, and the specific species is a mole, which is gross, but you know, it is what it is. I am born and raised in a city, so any rodents are just gross to me. So that's that. What I would like to do now is we can skip over factions and go to, hang on, let me organize my screen a little better here. Go to your tags. So I'm talking lines 17, 18, and 19. If you've also got the spreadsheet open, and what I will do is I'll pop that open so you can look at both things. Basically, what you're going to do is based on the species type you've selected, you pick one of these feature tags. So for example, Jeff picked rodent. He can pick nocturnal or speed as a feature tag. Again, you should sort of largely think, I'm not necessarily a giant mole. I'm a humanoid with mole features. At least mechanically, it's the features themselves that are going to have an impact. For example, if you pick bird, but do not pick flight, then you are not, even if you decide like you're a robin or a pigeon, and you do not pick flight, you cannot fly. So I will wait for everyone to pick a feature. And once you've picked one of the features from this list, from your species list, you can pick a second feature. Remember, we're dealing with mutants here. So even though you might be a mole, you might be a water-going mole, right? So you can pick aquatic. So at the end, you will have 2 features, one derived from your species and one other one. You could pick both species if you wanted. Everything that I'm seeing is awesome. I like that we are getting a mole and a ferret and a cheetah all in a party together, ostensibly friendly. You get 2 more tags. You get a demeanor, which sort of describes your overall personality. Maybe you're naive, maybe you're decisive, maybe you're charming. During play, you're going to activate one of these tags, or you might activate a tag if you're using it in the course of a roll, and that will let you roll with advantage. So that's what tags are. And then you can pick a skill, something that you are trained in. I love the idea of a gregarious ferret. This is great. All right. Any questions so far? Pretty straightforward, I hope. Awesome. Let's do this. Let's assign ability scores or attribute scores, and then we'll talk about tech level. So in this game, there are 4 attributes: awareness, cunning, passion, and patience. You can pick one of these arrays. I will cut and paste those into our chat if my PDF lets me do that. Pick an array and then assign those ability scores to those different attributes, or assign those scores to those attributes. So if I pick, say, +1, +1, +1, 0, I have 3 1s and a 0 that I can assign to these 4 scores. I think you've all said you've played PBTA games before, so this should feel somewhat familiar. You'll pick one of these to roll with, depending on what you're rolling or what action you're doing. You will roll 2d6 and you will add this score. A patient mole. I don't believe it, but I guess it's a fantasy world.
I figure they don't move all that quickly, so
That is true.
Be somewhat patient.
They don't, because whenever I see a mole, it is dead in my yard. That's so. Let's talk tech level for simplicity's sake. Actually, let me just make sure everyone is in a good place attribute wise. Tom, I'm gonna uncheck these boxes for you because they're not necessary until we start playing the game. Alrighty. So for simplicity's sake, the group is all at the same tech level. If you do remember Gamma World from way back when, this is one of the things I found as, I don't know, a 12-year-old, I found most intriguing for some reason, that we can sort of assign a tech level to describe kind of how technologically advanced things were. Because this occurred in some kind of unspecified future, there was technology that we couldn't imagine, but also because of the apocalypse, all of these technologies are all kind of jumbled together. So my understanding, or the way I've sort of framed this, is that every kind of enclave or group has a tech level that they're comfortable with. So obviously tech level 1 is sort of prehistory or ancient history type stuff. Tech level 2, you might call early, late 19th century stuff. Tech level 3 is mid 20th century. Tech level 4 is modern, and tech level 5 is the future that we can maybe anticipate. And so what I think we should talk about as a group is the enclave that you all belong to. What tech level is it? Are these folks who are used to using our modern technologies? Are these folks who are maybe still kind of have kind of forgotten a lot of that stuff and they're operating at a lower tech level? Dan, let me put you on the spot. Do you have any preferences or thoughts on this?
My inclination is to go for a lower tech level, especially since we had, what was the barbarian's name that was brought up?
Thundar.
Thundar the Barbarian. That seems like it wants to go maybe gunpowder, steam engines, simple electrical devices, but probably no more than that.
So we're talking like tech level 2.
If that is amicable to everybody, yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Everyone, Jeff, Tom, Adrian, you all okay with that? Fantastic. We got like a little bit of a steampunk Gamma World going on. So you can enter tech level 2, and now you have a choice. You can choose for your character to be tech level 1 and get an extra skill if you would like. So basically all they can do is, just the simplest technology is what they're capable or comfortable using. And if they're trying to use anything harder than that, it's they got to figure it out first. But they get an extra skill for their trouble. Thundar the Barbarian.
Sadly, not available on any streaming service unless you want to pay for it.
I wonder how well that would hold up.
I wouldn't put too much stock in it.
Don't count on it. What was so evocative was this creature. Like
Ukla the Mock?
Yes.
Someone at GaryCon this year ran a DCC, one of the DCC authors ran a DCC adventure with lots of different characters from all kinds of franchises, and one of them was Princess Ariel.
Nice.
So I played Princess Ariel from Thundar the Barbarian in a DCC adventure, which was kind of fun.
I barely remember this cartoon.
I think I may have a few years on you.
No.
I'm 51, so.
Oh, yes, that's almost exactly a few years. All right. Zoom does wonders for. There was a guy I've been playing with I've played it with him many times, and I thought he was in his late 20s, early 30s at the outside, and he was in his mid 40s, and I was like, wow, Zoom is the way to go here. All right, that was enough of a detour. Sorry about that. All right, I see Adrian is elected to go with a lower tech level, but his cheetah has an additional skill. All right, so
spends most of his time somewhere out in the forest or woods.
Right. Yeah, everyone's like, where's Charles? It must be out again. All right, so a couple more choices to make. One is a mental power. One of the things I loved about Gamma World was the psionic powers is what they called them. This word seems to have fallen out of favor, but these are just mental powers. And you can pick one. The way this works mechanically in the game is if you want to do something with your mental power, you can do it. If it is if we judge that it is especially extreme or challenging or hard, then it costs you to use it. When you rely on your mental power, you do it, mark an attribute to achieve greater effect. So we will talk about what is the effect of this thing really. And then if you want it, if you want to do more than we talk about, then you will mark an attribute. All right, let me just see where we're at.
Dan, for detect known item, can you give me a sense of how that might be used?
Talking about one of the mental powers?
Yeah, it's just called detect known item.
Right, meaning if you know an item is nearby, or if you are aware, like if you are a tech level 2, you can't say, I would like to find, the quantum computer, right? Because you are just not familiar with that. But if you said, I would like to find the sword, then you will be able to find the sword. Does that answer your question?
Yep, thank you.
Any other questions about any of these mental powers? I will give you a moment. Oh, looks like everyone's found one. All right. Let's do gear. This is the gear list. Be mindful of the tech level when you pick one. You can start with 1 weapon and 1 armor at your tech level. If you want another piece of equipment, feel free to write it in. I don't really care too much about that. These are largely narrative prompts more than anything else. Dan, what game did we play together before? I'm trying to remember.
I know we played Root.
Oh, it was Root. Oh, right.
There may have been another one, but I don't know.
Yeah. No, we always end up playing games about animals. I ran another Root session when they updated the rules, and I still found it not entirely to my liking. So. All right, looks like we're in relatively good shape. Again, this is a one-shot. I'm not too worried about the bookkeeping here. If you need an item and forgot to write it down, we can just pretend you have that item. I did want to, we were talking about ancient TV shows, but a newer TV show is called Kipo and the Age of Wonder Beasts. And if you have not watched this on Netflix, I highly recommend it. It is a much more modern take on the post-apocalyptic world of mutant animals. So here we are. We are largely done. We'll skip faction. I don't think that'll have, doesn't really do anything in the game. Also doesn't really have a bearing on our one-shot here. What I would like to do is go in character keeper order and have us introduce our characters, just sort of a 2-minute intro of your character. If you have an idea for their backstory, give us a little bit of that too. And what we'll do is after the intros, I think what I'll do is ask you all some questions to just develop the setting a little bit. I'll drop you all in the middle of the action, and we will take our break and then pick up from there. Does that sound okay to everyone? Cool. All right, Dan, you are up. Tell us about Butch.
Yeah, Butch is Butch uses they them pronouns because they are a fungus mutant. I have this idea that they are a descendant of the SCOBY that creates kombucha. Sort of in kombucha, it's like a big white hockey puck, and so Butch has the physicality of like a blobfish, if you've seen one of those, sort of just covered in slime and tendrils of interesting gooey things. So Butch is very patient and fairly aware of his surroundings. He's not very clever at all. Butch is able to emit toxins, quite possibly derived from his interesting digestive processes. He also has, I've mentioned these odd little slimy tendrils before, and we'll count those as extra limbs, tail. They're just sort of omnipresent. But he has a warm, kind demeanor, and skills in medicine. And when he travels, he carries a musket and wears heavy skins because the chainmail metal things don't necessarily agree with his chemical makeup.
So good. What is the effect of the toxin on someone who inhales it?
That's a great question. I think it is a do we want to say paralysis, like it's a neurotoxin?
I mean, it could be psychedelic.
That is way more fun. It is psychedelic.
Always go for psychedelic.
So what is that, illusions or something like that?
Yes. Not having ever had any kombucha myself, I have heard that if one has too much, it could lead in that direction. So love it. Thank you for that. That was awesome. We're going in character keeper order. So Jeff, you are next. Tell us about Hands.
Hands is a mole man. So if you're a Simpsons fan, that's where the Hands mole man. Anyway, he's got these sort of oversized, large front hands that he uses to sort of dig around. Underdeveloped lower limbs, so he doesn't run very quickly, and he's sort of covered in a velvety, soft fur, and he is sort of the village or enclave scholar.
Love it.
Very kind of patient and plodding. Let's not rush into anything. Kind of guy. And he carries a dagger. Frankly, that's more to like open things carefully without getting them messed up. And he also has a toxin, as real moles do, which is a sleep toxin.
I did not know real moles gave off a toxin. Is that like something that, like, if you touch them?
They can actually put worms to sleep if they bite them. And they keep a whole bunch of worms captive, basically. It's crazy. I was reading about it yesterday.
Moles are sneakier than one gives them credit for. Let me ask you something else about your mole man. You said he's sort of the enclave scholar. I picture someone like that kind of collecting ancient texts. Does that sound like something that Hands
Absolutely,
does?
Yeah. Fascinated by the old tech, these magical things that are out there.
I'd said texts as in books, but I like the idea of collecting old artifacts. That's great. Where does he keep them in the enclave?
I think he's probably got some kind of tent, and within that tent, there's probably a hole that he's dug, and he sort of keeps his most precious texts down in that hole.
Perfect. Love it. Fantastic. Thank you. That was great. Tom, tell us about Frank.
Frank. Okay, Frank the ferret. Kind of a party boy in demeanor. Likes being around other folk, let's say. Doesn't really have a passion for much of anything, just rolls with the tide. Has a bit of a fashion sense, wears the hides artfully and that kind of such. So, not real patient with others, though, even though he likes to be around them. Doesn't take a lot from people.
Perfect. I love that. Talk to me about his mental power. When did he discover that he could create illusions? Was there some sort of precipitating incident? Was this something that he had known all along? Was it something that his parents taught him how to do?
Yeah, the parents taught. They were the shamans of the
Nice.
whatever group ferrets form. But he didn't get along well with the rest of it, so he's on his own right now.
Okay. I'm sort of picturing him like, even though he's fairly gregarious, he was tired of like people coming and asking for things from the village magic, the enclave magic users, and he's like, I just want to hang out, man. I just want to party. Why do I have to keep doing stuff for people? So that's awesome. Let me see. Any other questions for you? Oh, and concealment. Is the concealment part of the illusions? Or is that like just something that he can...
No, that's just typical ferret behavior.
Got it. Typical ferret behavior. Yes. Cool. All right. And Adrian, we come to you. Tell us about Charles.
So Charles has cheetah-like features, but also a extra long tail. And with that, he spends his time out in the forest mostly. He's a kind of outdoorsy kind of guy, swinging around the trees, so quick, but also kind of agile. He's very passionate and kind of trained his senses, very aware of his surroundings, but he's not really that kind of patient with others or particularly smart or clever. He brushes into things often, kind of a daring kind of guy. Carries these daggers that if someone comes too close to him, he's kind of gets into this kind of frenzy of, like, what do you want? I'm gonna stab you, that kind of thing.
Right.
And he also can spend quite some time outside because he also somehow, when it was very cold and he hadn't eaten for a while, he'd somehow had this concentrator, like, it would be so nice to kind of roast some sort of animal over a fire, and then he discovered that he was able to summon small fires, like a campfire or something. So that helps him even longer to stay outside. So he's that kind of animal.
Fantastic. Charles has a lower tech level, and it sounds like that's in part because he sort of spends time outside the enclave, kind of doing more survival-y type stuff. I'm curious, is this because he is not interested in technology? Is this because he is antisocial? Is this because he's not smart enough to understand?
I think it might be, in a sense, like he might say that it's these things, it's too complicated and so on, but I think he's quite scared actually of all kinds of technology.
Love it.
Like he doesn't like to be around it.
know some people. I can relate. All right. Let's talk a little bit about the enclave that you are in. Dan, I'm going to come back to you. Is this former city? Is it sort of built from scratch in the middle of a wilderness? Is it maybe some other ecosystem that I'm not thinking of right now? Where do you imagine this enclave is situated?
I like the idea of a former city. It may be more of a suburb rather than like the city proper.
Got it. You have a city in mind.
Oh, I don't have a city in mind.
Just to be evocative for us. Like if it's Paris, maybe we see the remnants of the Eiffel Tower nearby.
Oh yeah. Oh sweet. Yeah. Maybe just outside of Seattle.
Okay. I would need I'm an East Coast boy. I will need your help with Seattle stuff. So, but I do know about the needle, so I got that. But we can add some stuff to it. That's great. And Jeff, what is how big is this enclave? Do you sense that it's kind of just the four of you and sort of some immediate family, or is it fairly extensive? Is it medium sized? How are you picturing this enclave?
It's actually grown quite large. So there are, let's say, about 200 various beings, for better or worse, because that may attract attention.
Right. And you can all imagine whether you are a more recent arrival or have been there and maybe your families have been there for a while. You all are aware and know of each other. Maybe you have some special skills, some interest in the survival of the enclave. I'm thinking that kind of our plot is venturing into the old city to find something to help your enclave. So maybe Tom, let me come to you. What sort of hardship or scarcity or struggle or threat do you imagine this enclave facing? Is there some kind of immediate danger? Is it a simmering danger? Is it environmental? Is it an outside faction? What do you think?
Okay, we're in Seattle.
Well, Redmond. We're like just outside Seattle. Yeah.
I've seen Seattle. That's about it. So,
yeah.
Threat from outside, maybe kind of a looming danger. I'm kind of imagining Sasquatch, actually.
Oh my gosh, like a Canadian mutant animal.
There we go. Maybe they've pillaged a few things, but no one's quite sure what's happening.
They're super polite when they do it, but they're still doing
Could
it.
Be.
Maybe they're just big and they just don't know their own size.
But I live in Detroit. I'm right across from Canada.
Are the Canadians polite to you?
Generally, yeah. Although you can't talk to them right now or visit.
They don't even want you to look at them.
So. Yeah. Just look across the river.
I love this. I think maybe this is more rumor than act. Like no one's ever seen evidence of the Sasquatch, but like everybody's talking about these creatures. Sort of like modern times. Everyone's talking about them. No one's ever seen them, and so there's this sense that there's impending threat. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah.
All right, I love that. And Adrian, what is one thing that this enclave is known for? How would you sort of say that this enclave distinguishes itself? Is it built kind of around a special area?
Great food.
It's got great food.
Yes. There was I think there might be some kind of machinery or something, like a greenhouse or something that they actually got working again. So different from many other enclaves. This one can grow like tomatoes and stuff. So really do some nice meals.
Have we played together before? I mean, almost every one of my games ends up being about food in some way, shape, or form. So that is so great. I'm also picturing that maybe there is like a culinary school in this enclave, and that maybe one of Hans's colleagues specifically collects tech and literature about cooking. And so it's got maybe one of the best libraries of ancient cookbooks. And so people are just coming from all over to learn how to prepare amazing meals. Is that all right? Does that sound okay? One of my kids' games, we played the whole session. We were playing Dungeon World, and the kids ended up in a town. And I was like, there's a demon that's taken over this town. And in order to free the town, you have to prepare the most amazing meal the demon has ever had. And we spent the entire session preparing meals for this demon. It was some of the most fun I've ever had. I'm at the top of the hour. I feel like we are in a good place. I'm going to say that you all are on a mission into Seattle because you heard that there's an artifact that can protect you from the impending Sasquatch stampede that is coming your way. So when we get back from our break, I will drop you in somewhere in the city and you will all be sort of interested in finding this artifact. I've got 2 minutes past the hour. Let's take a 10-minute break. So I will see you at 12 minutes past the hour. Sound good? Cool. See you in 12 or in 10 is what I mean. Welcome back. I think you are already down in Seattle. That's what I was waiting for her to say that. Everyone with me? I feel like we are getting some delay.
Okay, here.
Little delay. All right, I think we're back. I was picturing you all already down in the city and maybe making your way towards the place where you imagined, where you heard a rumor about an artifact that would help you all deal with this impending threat. I wonder if Hans, you were the one who was sort of educated about this artifact and what it might do to help with the potential onslaught of Sasquatch. Do you have a sense of what this artifact is? Is it a weapon? Is it a distraction? Is it, does it exert some kind of control over them? Does it maybe provide a defensive camouflage of your enclave?
I was thinking maybe like a working generator of some kind, so we could set up like an electric fence.
Okay, so very old school. We're just gonna keep them out with an electric fence, and maybe it's the plans for an electric fence too. So, like to help build and understand what that means.
Seems to fit with the tech level.
Yeah.
Keep them out with a fence.
I was gonna like
invisible fence.
You're gonna have to get collars on all those Sasquatches.
Yeah.
So maybe you are heading to an old home supply store where you can find out about electric fences. In my part of the world, this would be like a Home Depot or a Lowe's. What kind of Dan? What kind of reputation does this place have now?
kind of reputation does the home supply store have?
Yes. Like maybe you don't think of it as a home supply store because that we would think of it as that, but you all. So I'm just curious, like, is this a known location to the Enclave? Have they been here before? And what kind of reputation does it have? Is it a dangerous place? Is it a remote place? Is it a place where people have gone but never returned? What do you think?
I think it is a dangerous place. I think that, yeah, there's not a lot of reports of people going there, and when people come back, if they do come back, there are reports of mysterious, dangerous machines.
You are all in a subway tunnel, an old subway tunnel, which you are familiar with as a way to get into town. And I'm imagining you all having built some kind of device or a vehicle that sits on the rails of the subway tunnel and kind of pushing yourself along. Um, uh, Maybe with one of those hand pump things. Maybe use like a stick to push yourself along. Maybe you have to take turns, one of you running in the back. So I don't know. Any ideas? What's the best? Tom, what do you think?
I like the old railroad car. He'll keep giving the beat. Boom, 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 boom. like a galley ship.
Yeah, someone's got to keep time. Or okay.
We gotta try the monorail sometime.
Right. Let's set you up with a hazard. I think as you're kind of pushing yourselves along, you have to go down. You have to enter kind of new territory, maybe a track or a direction that you're not used to. That's not sort of the typical way to go. And I think as you are approaching this, one of you sees that there's a gap in the rail, and that in fact a chasm has opened up underneath in the direction that you want to go. Adrian, what do you do when you see this chasm up ahead?
I think we're actually moving at quite some speed. So I think Charles will call out, careful, there in the front, we need to stop quickly, and is looking around if there's some place that he can grab with his tail to kind of stop the moving vehicle that we are in.
Fantastic. Tom, what do you do? What does Frank do?
I see that this chasm coming. Tries applying the brake.
Okay, so there's a brake mechanism. And Hans, what is Hans doing? You're muted, Jeff. You're muted.
Being a nocturnal animal, he's keeping watch to make sure that they don't get jumped. This is the kind of thing that, like, yeah, it could be that somebody meant to create this chasm, or this smells like a trap.
Love it. And Dan, talk to me about what's Butch doing with this upcoming chasm.
I think Butch has set down the sort of pump mechanic that he had that they had been helping with, and is trying to just physically reach back with those many yeasty tendrils to grab hold of the rails behind them to slow. But it's slime on old railroad tracks does not have much traction.
Right.
So it's not very effective.
let's do some rolls because that's sort of the name of the game, and it would be fun to try. The way this game works is there's really only two moves. There's a human move and an animal move, basically dealing with your sort of bifurcated biological background. And you choose whether you're making your action is more human-like or more animal-like. You will pick one of those. You will roll. You'll pick one of those. You'll pick an attribute that you're rolling with, and then you'll roll, and we'll kind of see what happens from there. If you're familiar with PBTA, sort of the usual 6 or less is considered a fail, or as I like to put it, the GM kind of drives the narration there. 7 to 9, success with a cost, and 10 plus is you get to control the narration of what happens. So why don't we go in reverse character keeper order again? Adrian, you're rolling for Charles. Are you using your humanity, your wisdom and intelligence, or are you relying on your animal side, instinct and sensation?
Animal side.
Yes, I thought you might say that. And which attributes are you using for this?
Probably awareness.
Perfect.
Because I need to figure out the right place, like some form of some element in the tunnel, like a bar somewhere or a column or anything that I can grab on with his tail,
right,
and then kind of hold on to the wagon.
So there's a check mark, yes, next to awareness. You're going to mark that off. You cannot use the same attribute twice in a row when you're making a move. So why don't you roll? You're rolling 2d6. I'll post our dice roller again, just in case that got lost in the shuffle.
So I think I am actually using the tail, right?
Sure. Yes. So you can
does that
advantage. Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Well done.
That's good. So I'm gonna roll 3d6. Plus, that's a let's see, 9, 11.
Right. So you did really, really well. We'll get to that in just a sec. Let's see how the rest of these rolls resolve. But your tail is found purchase somewhere. Tom, why don't you roll for Mr. Frank? Are you using more of your animal side when you're kind of applying the brake, or your human side? You're muted, Tom.
Yeah, animal.
Okay.
Seeing the chasm, big danger. So
right.
Reach, yeah.
Fight or flight. Yep. And which attribute do you think you'll use for that?
Switching back and forth here, 1 sec.
No worries.
Yeah, there isn't anything. Okay. Okay, attribute. Heightened sense.
Okay, but which of the attributes? Awareness, cunning, passion, or pain?
Okay. Awareness.
Okay. And you're going to use your heightened sense. So again, you get to roll 3 dice, and you'll do +1 for your awareness.
Okay. How do I add an extra die to these rolls?
You can just click 3d6 there.
Okay. Okay, 13.
Hang on, it's not coming through. I'm just seeing the 2d6 roll. Did you roll?
Again, I missed.
Yeah, I'm just seeing the 2d6 roll.
Okay. Oh, that's Adrian. I'm sorry.
That's quite all right.
Let me try again here.
Or you can just roll another d6 to add it in because you rolled a 6. Kind of want to hold on to that.
Okay, I see what's going on now. One moment. Okay, 3d6.
All right, there you go. So that's a 9 plus 1 for your awareness is a 10. So you also apply the break. So now we've got the tail grab, the break applied. Hands, why don't you roll for your awareness, sort of like your sensing what's going on in the world.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's awareness, and I'm going to hit the nocturnal tag.
Okay.
To get advantage. So I think it's just 3d6 straight.
Yep.
8. No, 7.
7. Right. So we're success with cost. I missed asking you, were you using your human side or your animal side?
On my animal side.
Okay. And Dan, slimy tendrils on the rails.
Yeah, it sounds like a animal side, sort of a state of panic. And passion makes sense to me.
Okay.
Cool. And since we are using those tendrils, we'll and this +0 and rolling.
Wow.
Oh wow. Okay. Really good.
Yeah. So Dan, let's start with so we've got 3 different creatures now trying to stop this this train car. How does this look to you from your perspective, Butch? What is happening here?
I think Butch is able to find purchase on the steel rails of the subway rails, and braces their body in such a way that they are able to actually, with some a little bit of stretching, and probably they'll feel pretty sore in the morning. They're able to slow the cart down substantially.
Okay. In fact, I think between that and actually, Adrian, talk to me about Frank. Tell me what this feels like when he's pulling on the brake.
It's kind of a jerky. The car is rocking, shaking, slowing down, maybe not fast enough.
Okay. But between that and the tendrils, and now Adrian, talk to me about Charles's tail. How does that help kind of stop things?
I think basically we see the wagon kind of slowing down already with the brake and everything, and then I think basically he just grabs onto some metal piece that is jutting out of the wall, and then basically just holds at the back of it and just comes to an abrupt stop. And I think it might just be kind of at the chasm almost falling down, but he's kind of holding it.
Right. I think it took, you guys were moving with such momentum, such force. I was going to say that maybe you stopped well back in the chasm, like since you were all working on it. But maybe I like the idea of like, you are sort of like right up next to it. Not quite falling in, but it took all 3 of you to make this stop. But Jeff, I'm curious about hands. We can do this one of 2 ways. Well, no, maybe we should do it this way. So one of the ideas that I had for this game, mechanical ideas I had for this game, is that because they're just 2 moves, a move could also earn you currency, or hold is what it's called in PBTA parlance, and that there are 5 different ways you can spend that hold. And one of those ways is exploring the landscape. So Jeff, your roll of I think it was a 7, earns you 2 hold in that explore the landscape setting. You are then free to ask me 2 questions. You want to do it like that? I missed what you said.
I've got the list. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, why don't you ask me a couple of those questions?
Yeah. What here is not as it seems?
I think I'm going to go with someone sort of intimated this earlier. It's an illusionary chasm.
Interesting. Then what here is the greatest threat to me?
I think the people who created the illusion are pretty much the greatest threat. And maybe this is the moment that they spring their trap. There is a faction. I just want to, we're fungus and mammals. So yeah, so these are birds. These are bird people who, for some reason, live in a tunnel, and they kind of emerge. They're holding things that you recognize as weapons, but maybe you could name them, but you don't know how they work. You've never shot them before, but you know that these are weapons, and they are pointed at you. And one of them says to you, you've entered the territory of the feathered friends. Which one of you appears to be the leader? Like, who would they be directing their attention to? Any suggestions? Adrian, do you have an idea of which one of these?
I think it's actually Hans, kind of the kind of quiet brains of the operation.
Jeff, how do you feel about that?
I think that Hans might be the leader. I don't know that he looks like the leader, but we can go with that.
I think maybe you look the most tasty to these predatory birds. So either way, they're
plump, so that makes sense.
Yeah, on the smaller side, not very fast. So I think they're whether or not they think of you as the leader, they are directing their attention to you. So they say, you've entered the territory of the feathered friends. There is a toll. What will you give us to pass by?
We have nothing now, but we are on a supply. We are in search of supplies. We could bring you back something. Perhaps some seed?
Some seed? We've not seen seed in these parts for generations. Where do you expect to get seed?
Well, we have knowledge of a place called Hompot that has that at one time the ancients would go there to gather plants and gather trees, and they would bring them back to their enclaves. So we have reason to believe that there may still be plants or trees or that sort of thing from which you could harvest seeds, perhaps.
So I'm going to ask you all some opinions, ideas for us to take this story in. The birds, the feathered friends, are intrigued, but they are terrified and inform you of a threat at Hompot. So that's one possibility. Another possibility is we kind of go off the rails a little bit, and they are excited about how much knowledge you, Hands, have about the ancients and take you into their custody because they have a lot of questions for you. Jeff, do you have any preferences or thoughts or any other ideas of which way we can take this?
My sense is that, like, let's keep the focus on everybody rather than just on Hands.
Okay.
So my sense is the first option one would be my choice.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, we would find opportunities for other people to shine regardless. Does anyone have any other ideas for what direction the feathered friends could take this? I think they need to be convinced that you will bring back something for them. Hans, are you the right person to do that, or does someone else need to speak up?
Who's our charmer?
I think it's Frank.
Yeah, Frank, I think this is your time to shine.
I mean, no offense, Butch, but I don't think they're going to listen to a talking fungus.
Well, and honestly, I'm not so sure that they're likely to listen to Charles either, being a cat. Natural enemy to the bird people, the feathered friends.
Yeah, they're all about the same size, so hey.
Well, I mean, I like the idea, like maybe most of the weapons are pointed at Charles, because whether or not they intended this, they're just sort of all gravitating that way.
Charles is kind of absent-mindedly playing with the daggers, you know.
Helpful. Okay, Frank comes forward, hail feathered friends, well met, blah, blah, blah. We can find all sorts of supplies you might want. We've got perches, we can find seed. We will look for it at least. We will get our feline friend out of your way, and we will move on, and we will reward you when we come back.
Let's make this a roll. Just see kind of how convinced they are, and maybe that will yield some other interesting things.
Okay.
Are you using your human side or your animal side?
Let's see here. Here we want human, and we're using cunning.
Okay. Now, do any of your tags apply?
Well, gregarious. He's
Yes.
trying to make nice.
So I think
maybe heightened sense. He's aware of, or trying to be aware of what's in the surroundings in the darkness.
regardless of how many tags apply, you only roll with
Just
one
one.
extra die.
Okay. Okay.
So again, you'll roll with 3 and +2 for your cunning.
Okay.
We'll take the highest 2 dice.
Oops, 2 plus 2. Okay. Okay.
Nice. So I'm seeing a 3 and a 5 for an 8 plus 2 is 10. So what I'm going to do, Tom, on your character keeper is I'm going to check cunning because you use that and uncheck awareness. So what is this? You're using your gregarious demeanor. So I want to know, like, how does a ferret kind of use their charm and their friendliness to butter up a bird?
Making nice by admiring plumage.
Oh, good. That's great.
There might be some gulls. Maybe we'll find some fish on the way. That'd be nice.
I think your general familiarity with their culture and interests is very appealing to them. And I sense that you've earned their trust a little bit. I'm thinking of maybe one of them reveals that one of their members of their enclave has went to Hompot and never returned. And so now they've asked you, can you help us recover our lost comrade?
Okay.
How does that sound to you?
Sounds fine. How do we know how long he's been missing?
Yeah, I think they say 1 season.
Okay.
He went kind of at the end of the very warm season, or let's call it the very hot season. I imagine everything's kind of warm these days. and to try and get us some supplies for the slightly cooler months. And we never saw him again. We heard some sounds coming from Humpot, and we chose to not lose any more of our flock. I think this is, you've been talking to an owl-like person, and this is someone else. The owl-like person is their leader. His name, we'll call him Smokey. Actually, we'll make them female. So her name is Smokey. But someone, another has stepped forward, who is sort of like the village or the enclave sage. And we will call her Willow. She is the sage. What kind of bird is Willow?
Sage, not already. Okay, let's try for a dodo.
Hardcore. They're back. The dodos are back. And they're mutants.
And now apparently they're smart.
And they're brilliant. They're sages. That was amazing. That was not a direction I was expecting. Very cool. They let's see, Adrian, they kind of dispense of the illusion. What does this look like to you when they kind of pull away the illusion? Does it simply just disappear? Does it fade away? What do you think?
Yes, I think it basically just, I think one of them steps forward and kind of snips or puts two hands like two bird wings kind of together, and it just disappears. And now I think somehow Charles was still kind of holding on to the wagon because kind of still afraid that it would fall into the this chasm, and now he kind of looks a little stupid, and kind of very slowly tries to back down, kind of relax the tension, and then kind of stand there and just look at the others. So where are we now with this? Everything clear? These birds?
Are you talking to your group?
Yeah,
here?
to the others. Yeah.
And we're gonna.
We should get going. We should get going. I think.
Okay, once the illusion is gone, what are we seeing ahead of us?
More track, more tunnel.
Okay, we're off.
Perhaps they could spare a guide.
Oh, interesting.
Pigeon.
Yeah, I think one of them. They're like, we will help you get as efficiently as you can to the edge of our territory, so that you may get to the Humbot more effectively. And they kind of all step out of the way. And this is one of those camera kind of sees nothing and then pans down. And it's this tiny little wren person who we shall call Maple. Sorry, these are my pets' names. I couldn't think of anything. And Maple's a wren. And she's a guide. And she says, I've never ridden on one of these carts before. Is it scary? She's looking at hands.
No, it's not scary. I'm sure you can find a place to perch. Even there's so we established that it's like one of these things that goes like this, right?
Yeah.
She like put herself right on the middle of the
On
fulcrum.
the hinge, yeah. Fulcrum.
By the time you get to the end of the tunnel, even this bird is a little seasick from like all the kind of bopping about. But she's guided you along the way, and she reveals the person who has gotten who kind of went off and never returned. Uh, um, Dan, what was the role of this person in the Feathered Friends Enclave?
I think a medic.
Oh, nice. And so maybe they were going off to find healing supplies.
Yeah.
Jeff, what was their what bird were they?
Sorry, what was there? What?
What kind of bird was this person who disappeared?
Medic. I mean, it's Seattle, so there's a ton of seagulls there. So,
Oh yeah, perfect. And I think we established that maybe there were even some seagulls kind of among the group. And Tom, let me see, what else can I ask you? They said that the seagull has a distinctive feature, so you would recognize it, because obviously there are about 1 million seagulls in the Home Depot. So what was the distinctive feature of this particular gull?
A red spot on the beak.
Perfect. And maybe they just call them red spot.
Mm-hmm.
And Adrian, they give you Maple gives you something so that when the gull sees you, they know you're a friend. What is this artifact or kind of identification that they give you?
I think it's the leader of that. I think the owl, right? The leader. They pluck this beautiful feather out of their tail, and then they give it to us. Say like this. This will tell them that you came from us.
That's awesome.
Unmistakable.
You are now at the end of the tunnel. The wren is saying goodbye. You are among kind of in, let's call it kind of a downtown sort of area. There's streets, there's crumbled buildings, there's lots of sort of evidence of the former world, the ancient world, the pre-crash world here. And you see kind of in the distance the home pot. As you're making your way towards it, I'm thinking we do one more encounter and then we take a break. As you are walking towards it, because I already did a vehicle, let's say that, here we go. You have to go through a place with a lot of overhanging plants and things. Adrian, what was this area in the city before the city collapsed? Was it very commercial? Was it very residential? Was it kind of a historic district? What do you think?
So on the way to the HomePod, right?
Yes.
We maybe can see it already, or we could see it before in this. Since now we're kind of more down into this area with all the overgrown plants. So I think it is a residential area, kind of at the outside of the town. So there's basically now here ends kind of this residential area, and so there is this park. It used to be a park, and now it's this kind of overgrown jungle. There's a small river or something running through it.
Oh, nice. So there's a little stream that you're following,
A little stream, yes.
and on the sides of the stream, there's kind of all of these kind of overgrown plants, and this was sort of a city park that you're walking through. And on the other side, you see the home pot. As you are making your way through this, it's getting darker and darker, but you're also hearing a distinctive sound in the air that maybe is not something that you typically hear. Tom, what do you think this sound is?
Okay, on the darkness for one moment.
Oh yeah,
Is this late in the day or just because we're under all this shrubbery?
I think both. I think it's
Okay.
starting to get on to dusk. Those feathered friends are talkers, but also because the shrubbery is overhanging.
Okay, so what are we hearing? A rhythmic thump, thump, thump,
Okay,
thump. Yeah.
perfect. And Jeff, as is the thumping getting louder? Is it getting quieter? Is it kind of staying the same? And while you're thinking about that, you're also smelling something unusual. What is the smell in the air?
It's going. It's the same rate. Sorry, the same volume, but it's getting faster. The drum beats are getting faster.
Okay.
And the smell is the smell of cooking meat.
Interesting. Find another way to work that sucker in. And Dan, I wonder if Butch has been here before. How is this different from the last time Butch was in this area?
Well, you know what? I think maybe that the stream or the river that's running through the park is it looks natural, but it is new. There is no memory of that.
As you're, are you all in the stream? Are you kind of making your way in the stream? Are you on the bank? What do you think?
I think I'm on the bank. I'm not
Okay.
really crazy about water.
Frank can wade down the stream. He's a ferret. He's good at water.
All right, it's getting deeper though, Frank. Just as you are.
Okay.
As like
maybe he pulls out then.
And as you are kind of trying to climb it back up into the bank to join these others, a vine comes down and wraps around you. Are you towards the front? Are you in the back? Are you on the side? What do you think of the party?
I was on the side because I'm climbing back up when this happens.
Vine comes down. Another vine sort of comes out in front. I'm sensing that maybe Adrian, Charles is out front, comes right in your face and starts to kind of open a mouth of some sort on the vine. Hands and Butch, as you are sort of maybe pulling up the rear a little bit, you're feeling some vines, and you start to hear a low-pitched kind of whistle that's also getting louder and louder. At least one of you recognizes these as something known as screeching vines. Let's start with Butch. What do you do?
What does Butch do? It's such a great question. I think
It's the question.
it is. I think Butch may is yeah, I think Butch is going to try and outmaneuver some of these vines that they feel wrapping around them, and inject them with their toxin.
I cannot wait to hear what plants hallucinate. Hans, what are you doing with these approaching vines?
What I think he's doing is trying to figure out, like, are they all coming from the same sort of root or trunk, or are these like, are we under attack by 1,000 different or 100 different?
They're all along, if that helps.
I see. Okay.
And it's maybe the source is unclear. They're just sort of seem to be coming from everywhere.
Yeah. Then actually, I think he would do something very similar, and try and bite into a vine that's grabbing for him, and using it.
Tom, talk to me about Frank. What's Frank doing? As he's entangled in a vine.
Okay. I originally thought of him just shucking the skins for now. Is that possible, or is he too tight?
I missed what you said.
I was thinking about having him just shed the skins.
Oh,
and,
so try and wriggle out.
Yeah. If it's too tight.
Let's give it a try. And Adrian, talk to me about Charles. What's Charles doing with this vine coming after him?
I think we're drawing his daggers and really quickly like slashing at the vines.
Sure. Let's start there. So what you'll do is you will roll, and you can use human or animal. You'll get hold. We'll use the engage in combat setting, and that will determine what you can do with the hold that you have. So once again, you're choosing human or animal.
I think animal with passion.
Perfect.
And speed.
Perfect. You can roll.
Before they can reach me, I want to chop them up. Let's see.
Wow.
Okay. That is a 14.
Yeah, so that gives you, we're using animal or
animal, yes.
Yeah, so you can have 3 hold to spend. So why don't you look at that menu of hold, engage in combat, and think about what you're going to do. And Tom, you are trying to wriggle out. Are you using your human side or your animal side to do that?
Human.
Oh yeah, trying to be clever about it. I love it. And which are you using?
You got to go with awareness.
That makes sense. So you can roll, and do any of your tags make sense here? I don't think so.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is aquatic if he's going to dive back into the stream, but don't think so.
Yeah, I think he needs to. He's trying to wriggle out. So you'll roll 2 dice, and you will add your 1. Oh, not bad. You still got a 9 there. Well, I lost my notes. All right. I sense we're not necessarily doing. I mean, was that sort of combat, or are you just trying to get out?
Just getting out, away.
All right. And Jeff, roll for hands.
Yeah, I think he's going to use passion.
Yeah.
And not his strongest suit, but he does have toxin, so he's going to hit that tag. And I think this is animal. So that's 3d6 minus 1.
Yep. Seeing a 7.
Okay. It says I've lost connection to the game server.
You should be able to just reload.
Yeah.
And Dan, why don't you roll for Butch wriggling out?
Yeah, I think this is. I think he is trying to be clever to outthink the vines in his maneuvering. So we'll go with human and cunning, which is a -1.
Do any of your tags apply?
Yeah, he is in the midst of this, trying to inundate these vines with his psychedelic toxin.
Oh, love it. Okay. Wow.
All
It's
right.
still an 11, isn't it?
Yes.
All right. So, Adrian, why don't you tell us how do you want to spend your hold? You have 3 hold to spend.
I think that basically Charles is just really slashing up this one wine, so I'm going to spend it on incapacitating your foe and marking a use.
Okay. Yeah, I think
So
that,
go ahead.
yeah, I love that. So you're slashing, the vine kind of falls, wriggling on the ground. And you could tell that it was just about to let out a piercing screech before you were able to cut through it. You've still got your friends behind you dealing with a couple of vines.
So I think kind of Charles is kind of lunging ahead into this vine, slashing it up, and then doing like a roll on the ground and coming up again, looking backwards to where the others are and kind of seeing where else he can be of use in the moment.
Great. Frank, you are successful. You wriggled out, but with a 9, there's a cost there. So I think what you've, although you've wriggled out, you've lost your hides. So now those, or your whatever you were wearing, those are.
He's pissed.
Those are on the ground, and you are no longer capable of making a fashion statement.
Yeah.
Was there anything else you wanted to add to that?
No, that's good. No, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Okay. Hands, you bit into a vine, so you've got, so you were doing combat, right?
Yep.
Which means on a 7 with your animal, we're using animal or human?
Animal.
You've got 2 hold to spend.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna use spend 1 to provide cover for an ally. So that's for our friend who just got for Frank who got grabbed.
Okay.
And incapacitate your foe, but only for a moment.
Okay. What does all that look like on the screen?
Yeah, he bites one of the vines that's reaching for Frank.
Okay.
And as he bites it, it just goes limp.
Okay.
From the toxin.
Okay, nice. And in terms of the incapacitating the foe, is this the same foe? Okay, love it. And Butch, you rolled really well, right? You rolled an 11. So you were able to wriggle out and use the toxin. I assume that was not really much of a combat move. That was more just trying to get out or get out of the way of those things. How do you feel about
Yeah, that works for me.
So what does that look like?
I think there is there is a bit of wrestling, tendrils and vine action. The camera cuts down to under the water where the tendrils and vines are frothing together.
Right.
Butch is able to sort of drag themselves up onto the bank of the river, away from where all that is happening.
Okay. As you are kind of wriggling, successfully wriggling away, and maybe kind of you released your toxin, right?
Yeah.
And it's a psychedelic toxin. So you see the plants, kind of the vine, sort of start to bite at things that are not there, right? It's hallucinating other things. I think the pounding drums suddenly stops, and whatever that rhythmic noise was suddenly stops, and the plants realize that it's stopped. And as you are sort of becoming aware of the plants kind of receding, you see in front of you what could only be described as a Sasquatch.
Thanks.
And we will pause there for our break. It is 8 past the hour. Let's take 10. We'll reconvene at 18 past the hour and bring this to a close. Sound good?
Hey, sounds good.
Cool. See you in 10. Thank you, Zoom lady. We're back. Sasquatch emerges, but to us here, us people, this would just look like a normal person, more or less, like a human. But the creatures don't remember exactly what normal humans look like. Maybe they're a little, their hair is longer, is especially long if maybe they're male, and so they've got kind of lots of facial hair, so they seem especially furry. Maybe humans from our age were taller than these mutated animals. So, you know, a 6 foot human, an average 6 foot human male looks especially tall to these folks. But this person is clearly out of their element and not really sure on where they are or what they're doing. And I guess I was sort of imagining their demeanor aggressive but scared. Does that sound reasonable to you all? And I think you see behind them some cages. And maybe it's hard to tell whether there are cages, whether the cages are occupied. And I think you realize that the smell of burning meat or cooking meat was some kind of fowl of some sort, some kind of a bird of some sort. And they maybe it is Eddie better. Maybe they I think they can speak, and I think they can speak to you. And I think they say something like, help me. Which one of you is going to respond?
What help do you need, Sasquatch? Have you come here to finish us off?
What did you call me?
Sasquatch. We know your kind.
Okay, Sasquatch is fine. I need something. I need someone to get me something. And I can't get it myself. And takes a bite of what appears to be a leg. A bird leg.
Does it look like a seagull?
I think you all would have not really any good idea.
Right.
I want to be clear to us and the players at the table. He's just sort of catching wild birds that are not sentient. But I think it's enough to scare you that maybe this guy's eating mutant animals. So.
Yeah, Frank's prepping his musket.
And the Sasquatch says, there's no need for that. I'm just asking for some help. I injured myself.
Is there reaching for something on a high shelf situation? Because I think you have us outdone on that.
It's and what you see is that the stream kind of empties out into kind of like an artificial pond that's maybe very, very deep. And he is incapable of swimming in it and looking for stuff in it. Are you going to help me? Or are you going to be like the rest of them?
Rest of who?
Let's go. Let's help him. Let's go. Let's do something. We're standing around here. Let's do it. let's. What is it? Tell us.
Hold on. What do you? Where are your people?
I'm the only one that I'm aware of.
Nobody survives here alone.
I've had folks like you come and help me here and there. And now I really need your help. I have some medicine and it fell to the bottom of the pond.
Okay.
And what do you want us to do about it?
Well, I don't know. Some of you look like you're capable of swimming and like seeing in the dark and the muck and I don't know, things that my kind are not able to do.
Okay. Frank asks if he knows how deep the pond is.
I think this was something that they made before the crash. I think they were making it to try and, I don't know, store water in some kind of reservoir. I don't know. It's very deep. I've tried, but I can't hold my breath long enough. But I'm also not a very good swimmer. And I'm injured.
Where are you injured?
He sort of points to his leg, and it's kind of unclear, but maybe you realize that he's limping or something, like he's got kind of an injury that prevents him from swimming effectively.
Butch, can you help? Don't you know your way around this kind of thing?
My people grew on the surface of the water. We were never aquatic peoples, but I do know one of us that can help you, Sasquatch. But one of us that can dive deeply into the.
Okay, and Frank says, okay.
I think Charles was meaning that you are a healer.
Oh, also that I can do. Here, show me the location of your wound, and I will lay my acidic flesh upon it to render healing.
He starts to back away, like, well, I just need someone to get the medicine. And maybe stop calling me Sasquatch, but let's start with the medicine.
This is much better. It's all organic. It's homeopathic. It's very, very good for you.
Well, can we do both?
Yes, let's.
Tom, talk to me about how Frank goes into the water. And I wonder if someone had maybe an ability. Was that you? Yes, it was. Hands has detect known item. I wonder if you can help in this way.
I guess he could sort of stick his face kind of into the water and see if he can spot it.
Sasquatch says it's sort of in a like a case, like a suitcase. You know what a suitcase is, right? Like a bag.
A bag.
You know what a bag is, like with a handle on it.
Yes, I know these things.
Yeah, can you help me find that?
Okay. I'm not going into the water. I'm putting my head in. And
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. I think what is detect known item? What does it look like when you do that? Are you glowing? Are your whiskers moving?
I think it's more his nose sort of twitches and his whiskers kind of flick. And he just gets a sense of where it is as a result.
Okay. How do you describe that to Frank?
Basically like, okay, go follow your nose, and then turn to your left paw, and then go straight. It's on the bottom. It's near a big rock. It's
nice. There you go.
Okay. Have you actually seen it, or shape, size?
I can't the shape is like this. It's squarish, and
Okay.
I don't know the color. I can't quite tell the color. Everything looks brown.
Okay, Frank slips into the water and starts heading down. Lots of deep breaths.
Love it.
If our friend does not come back, you'll be going with him.
I need this more than you all do. I'm in so much pain right now. I don't even know if you all would understand. So I'm hopeful that this that your friend is successful. Tom, I'd love to hear, like, what is something else weird and distinctive that you see at the bottom of this thing?
There's something glowing, blue light.
Oh, nice.
But it's on the other side from the medicine.
Small, big, or you can't even see. It's just this blue glow.
It's small. As I get down, I detect it's a cylindrical shape.
Okay.
But that's about it. No markings or anything.
Are you trying to retrieve it? Are you?
No, the water's getting a bit warm around it.
Okay. So whatever it is, we will have to maybe discover this, play to find out.
Yeah, we'll work on that. But okay, we're still going down. I spot the medicine chest and try to lift it up.
Okay, love it. Anything about it surprising to you? Or is it expected?
It's a little heavier than expected.
Okay. Does Frank have any problems with this? Is this like a normal swim for Frank? Is this deeper than he's used to going?
It's a bit of a strain. That's not so bad, but it may be a slow rise up.
Okay. Before we get to Butch's healing endeavor, I want to draw Charles in somehow. I was looking through everyone's abilities, trying to think of a scenario that would let us sort of narrate the end of this, but I struggled a bit with Charles. Adrian, do you have any ideas as to what role Charles is going to play in all this?
Well, if there is something in the water that might be a problem for Frank coming up, then I think kind of trying to help pull him out with the tail or something that might be an assistance that Charles might be able to give.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't imagine anything too creepy living in the water, but I wonder if the blue glow is sort of it's kind of drawing you down or something, or making it difficult for you to surface, and so Charles can kind of pull you out of that. What do you think of that, Tom? Or do you have another idea?
Yeah, the glow is kind of attractive, but the warm water is strange. So Frank likes bright and shiny, but this is a little too weird to deal with.
Okay.
So he grabs the box, clutches it, and starts climbing the wall.
Oh, kind of pulling.
And reaches for the tail when he sees it.
Okay, nice. Dan, walk me through the healing procedure. What does this look like?
I think I think Butch lays a slimy hand on our Sasquatch friend's leg, and I mean, Butch is a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast, and so these bacteria and yeast start to go to work. We zoom in as though nanobots reconstructing something, and all of these microscopic sub-organisms are penetrating the skin and reconfiguring the body, whatever is wrong.
Yeah, I'm thinking it was like a break that never got set properly and also started to get infected. So
Okay.
so yeah, that whatever spores you have and whatever they do are healing this Sasquatch good as new. I had no other ideas for how to kind of wrap this up. Does anyone have any other ideas, or we could do epilogues? Are you going to bring this? Are you going to bring the Sasquatch back to your enclave? Are you going to continue on to Home Depot? I'm kind of curious. I actually, you know what I want to hear is you all now need to figure out what the next step is. So talk amongst yourselves, like you kind of go off to the side and have a conversation about what you're going to do about this Sasquatch, this bird eating Sasquatch. What does that conversation look like?
So far, he doesn't look like a bad guy. We can leave him here for the moment. I don't think he's going anywhere. Probably knocked out from the healing. We should go on to Home Pot, whatever we're calling it.
Home Pot. Yep.
Yeah. Because we got the feathered friends to deal with on the way back.
I think our feathered friends may have something to say about him potentially eating one of their own.
They don't even bring that up.
I don't think they will say much at all when they see him. They will be too scared. So that might be actually a good way for us to get by without them pestering us again.
Do we know anything about Sasquatch's history? Has he said anything? Position with the clan or whatever?
No. Seems like an anomaly.
Okay.
I wonder if he would like to work in the gardens, in the, in
the greenhouse.
Tending in the greenhouse, exactly. That would be kind of good work. Could it be integrated into our community like this?
And if he is a Sasquatch, there is no better defense against the other
Sasquatches
than someone who can negotiate with them from their own position.
No, they're fuzzy enough that is he the only one? We don't know.
Is anyone going to ask him about the seagull?
Yeah, I think we should bring him with us as a guide. He knows this place better than we do. And maybe along the way we can say, we are looking for Hompot, and have you seen a bird man who has a red dot on his beak?
Sounds fine.
I think he agrees to lead you to Hompot, and I want to hear, like, specifically, how do you ask him about the seagull? Is that Hans who asks?
Yeah, Hans doesn't really have any tact. So the bird you were eating, did it have a red dot here?
On it, I don't know. When I got the bird, it didn't have a head.
Ooh.
It was chicken raised by another enclave.
Okay.
Have you ever had chicken? Oh, right. I forgot. You all probably don't eat meat, do you?
Well,
seafood.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I guess my cheetah
bush meat is a big deal, in some places.
I stand corrected. Yeah. There's another enclave on the other side of Hompot that makes that raises chickens. and so I get them there. I would never hurt one of you. What do you mean red dot on the wait a minute? Are you talking about a seagull, kind of loud?
Exactly. You got it.
Oh yeah, we had a great chat. They were not able to help me because they're not much of a diver. They tried, but they went on their way to Humpot, and I never really saw them again. Maybe they ended up at that enclave beyond the Humpot.
We need to go to Humpot.
Yep.
Let's go.
What we do after that.
All right, look. I mean, I can take you there, but I'm not going to go in there with you.
Okay. Fair enough.
Why? What do you have to fear in the Humpot?
I don't know. There's a lot of noises come from in there. It feels like there's another enclave's kind of taking it over, and they don't really like intruders. You sure you still want to go? Surely what you need from there is not anything important. What did you need from the Humpot anyway?
What did we need from the Humpot?
Information.
Close the door, would you?
We needed information.
Okay. Well, I mean, I understand that there's a lot of good stuff in there, but I think the enclave in there really kind of keeps it close to their chest. So,
I think Charles kind of says, kind of to the side, I think to Hans, wasn't the information that we were looking for how to defend the enclave from him? Well, what do I know?
I don't trust this guy.
Humpot. It's a one-story giant brick building. Looks dark inside. It's got the letters HOM and POT on it. Though maybe the T is already starting to fall off. So at some point they're going to start calling it Hompo. And let's say that there are burn marks kind of coming from inside, like just scorch marks on the outside. There's a smell that you can't recognize coming from in there. And I also feel like I said it was dark. Oh yeah, part of it, like one corner of it's caved in. I'm thinking about the Home Depot that's near me. So probably doesn't look like that in Seattle. But yeah, one part of it is caved in. What do you do?
I'm perfectly happy to stand or sort of sit in undercover and just watch.
Okay.
Like a good 24 hours.
All right, so we're gonna stake out the place.
Yes.
All right. What kind of cover is nearby? I mean, my Home Depot has a garage nearby, but maybe this one doesn't. It's just a big open parking lot. So what kind of? It's just a big open parking lot. So what kind of cover are you sitting in?
I think rusted out hulks of like cars and like there's a U-Haul rental place
Right.
Right next door. So there's like tractors and backhoes and stuff like that.
Wow. Okay, we're camped inside a U-Haul truck.
It's just called the Rent-A-Truck. True. Rent-A-True. Let me go down the line. Charles, are you going to settle for just scoping out a place for 24 hours?
I think Charles is gonna somehow try to get on top of the thing as soon as the others are kind of settling in. I think he's just gonna go slowly away and then up on top of it somehow.
Yeah, night falls and Charles makes his move. Love it. Tom, tell me about what Frank is doing. Is he gonna also
Frank
scope it up?
is watching, but he's kind of twitchy. He's desperate for some new rags, and he wants to find something in there.
Yeah, totally. I mean, there's at least a nice gardening vest that he can pick up. I'm also sensing that maybe you're realizing that there are kind of sewer lines that sort of run in there. So in addition to going up, you can maybe go under. Hans is doing the scoping from a Rusted Hulk. Dan, tell me about what Butch is doing.
I think is our Sasquatch friend still with us, or has he taken?
Oh, good question. I think he's still here, but is ready to as you get closer to the Hombot. He's clearly ready to take his leave.
And we'll play into that. I think Butch is spending some time insisting on continuing to help this man with his wounds, and is just going on and on about the benefits of holistic medicine, and like, you really need to stop eating chicken. I subsist on cane sugar and tea, and I'm incredible.
Look how great
Sounds
I
good
look.
to me, yeah.
This guy's like, oh my gosh. I mean, he's so grateful for being healed, but the last thing he wanted was a sales pitch. He's like, you know what? I'm going to take my leave. I think we're going to end on I got to end right at the top of the hour. So I'm sorry about that. But I think I want to end on like something bad is about to happen to you all. And something emerges from within that kind of gets everyone scared. And that's kind of our ending note. And then we'll do epilogues. Sasquatch takes his leave. Charles, you are now on top. And what do you hear from within that sounds, what are the sounds that are emerging that sound completely unnatural to you?
It's actually a kind of machine.
Forklift, yes.
Is it mechanical? Is it electronic?
Yes.
Is it alien?
It's an electronic machine that is running around in there. It might have been there a long time ago for cleaning purposes or something, but now it is something very, very dangerous.
It's actually all the machines that were ever in here that have come together into a giant robot powered by some nanotechnology that is long forgotten. You see a piece of it emerge onto the roof where you are. What piece emerges? Is this a claw? Is this a leg? What do you think?
It's a cherry picker.
I was asking.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's good. It's like the big arm, like a robotic
crane.
arm.
Yeah.
And I think basically, for at least the last thing I think we see of Charles is that he gets up on the roof there, and then this big arm picks him up, and he's just dangling in this arm, like over
Poor kitty.
And then maybe that wakes the others, and they're kind of seeing him like there on top of the roof, caught by this thing.
Let's go down the row. Dan, how does Butch react to Charles being lifted into the air by a cherry picker?
I think Butch rushes to the scene, and I think in trying to find a way to interface and negotiate with this mechanical being, I think Butch finds saw blades instead, and is cut up ceremoniously.
Right. So as you are sort of making your way, I'm sort of picturing another arm kind of push away part of the building, and on the end of that arm arm is a collection of 4 or 5 or 6 different whirring saw blades
Yeesh.
that comes right for you. Brutal.
Uh,
I'm going to come to Jeff and Hans. What is Hans doing when he sees Charles getting dangled?
He hopes that Charles will land on his feet, being a cat, but frankly, he's doing nothing. He's just observing.
What is? Go ahead.
Stays hidden to try and figure out, like, okay, where does it have eyes that we could try and put out? Does it have vitals that we could stab? Like, what's the weak point here? What is this thing?
Ironically, another claw emerges, and at the end of this claw are a series of whip-like strands that make up an electric fence. And so you sort of see this kind of evidence of, well, that's what we came for. And it starts kind of flailing it around as it hits different objects still sitting on the top of the building. You can see electric flashes run through these metallic objects. Tom, you get the last word here. What is
okay.
Frank doing?
Well, Frank has had his musket ready for a while. So he runs as close as he can and lets loose.
Oh, so he's kind of firing into
The machine.
this robot, and I think that provokes it to kind of more fully emerge. I'm picturing something like scorpion-like conglomeration of Home Depot machines that's kind of crushing the building, letting off a variety of noises, everything from like lawnmowers to washing machines, to chainsaws, right? Kind of just this variety of thing. And in fact, a chainsaw is kind of swinging down towards Frank as you are firing your musket at this thing. And I think, like a 70s movie, we cut right there.
Yeah.
So unsatisfying, those movies in the 70s. So I think we will call it quits there. Thank you guys. That was super fun. I hope you all had a good time as well. Like I said, the Gauntlet is a tradition of using hearts, stars, and wishes. I knew it would come to me eventually. This is a technique that we use to describe what do we like. Stars, you can hand stars out to people of things that you liked, and wishes, things that you would like to do differently next time. Obviously, if we were running a multi-session thing, we could use that to kind of set up the next session. If you want to give me feedback on how the game was played, I'm totally open to that. If there's something that you wish you had done differently, you can reveal that to us as well. I'm going to go in character order. So Dan, can I put you on the spot to start us with stars and wishes?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I liked everybody's characters, and I especially liked the scenery and the way things were brought into this post-apocalyptic vision. I especially appreciated Charles's willingness to just do something first, ask questions later.
Yes.
I think that is something that I would like to emulate in the future. Just not be so much in my head about, well, what would kombucha do? What would a SCOBY do in this situation? But to just go ahead and take action. So
that's
those
great.
Are my stars and wishes.
Yep. Fantastic. Thank you. Jeff, you're up.
Yeah. Similarly, I thought lots of evocative details that everybody was sort of putting forth. Some good humor too. I think this is a really neat redesign, Dan. And I'm wondering, I don't know whether this is a wish or whatever. Are you making this available to people to play test?
Yeah, it's up on itch. I will post the URL.
Great, thank you.
After today's game, there are some changes I want to make to the rules. I felt like we were able to do a lot more rolling with advantage, which did not create some narrative tension as much as I would like. So I think that I'm going to turn that into a resource that gets used up. So you need to replenish. But I just posted the URL to chat. Any other wishes? Anything you want to see done differently? Anything you think should be changed about the game?
No, I mean, it's tough sometimes playing a character who by nature is supposed to be ponderous, where
Yeah.
you're supposed to be like a one-shot game and like everybody kind of wants to get the stuff done. It's like, you're always like, no, hold back.
Right.
Nobody wants to be that guy.
Right. Yeah, I wonder if there's it's a good point. I haven't thought deeply about this, but when you're sort of playing the thinker, what is that? How does that work? Even in a on the Gauntlet, we normally play games over a month, so it's really 4 or 5 sessions. So it's really not a lot of time to kind of sit back and think, right? Which is why they kind of dive in with action. But I wonder if you could pair a thinker with someone like a healer, or some other kind of trope that would allow you to take some kind of action, where instead of sitting back all the time, maybe your curiosity always gets the better of you. So
yeah, like some kind of tinker maneuver.
Right. Cool. Thanks for that. Tom, you're up. Stars and wishes.
Okay, well, I did enjoy the game like everyone else. The setting was good. Could have been a little more gonzo, perhaps.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Death race coming out of nowhere. Who knows? It happened with the election or something. So, what was I going to say?
Anything in particular that you liked?
The parts I really enjoyed were the diplomatic parts, where we're negotiating here and there.
Yep.
I'm not sure there's a lot of leeway in this particular format right now, but that was good.
Thanks. Adrian, you are up.
I really liked this. I liked how you were asking us a lot of questions all the time, and I liked the diversity of the different characters a lot. That was great. So thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. And wishes, if any.
Finding out what happens with these characters.
Yeah.
I should make a note of what that cliffhanger was. I kind of liked ending on a cliffhanger because as a GM, I struggle with one shots, and I'm always trying to tie a bow on things. And it's like, you know what? Sometimes the episode ends and the show does not get renewed. So
there you go.
Yeah, it's a pilot, and the show didn't get picked up.
Yeah. I mean,
the critics panned it.
Yeah, there's just not a big market for this kind of stuff. So, and it was probably on Fox, and they always cancel all the good shows before they get going. So
there you go.
So let me just do some stars. I loved everybody's characters. Thank you all for leaning way in to this setting. I did go a little bit more kind of fantasy nature approach rather than kind of crazy technology approach. So it's kind of hard to balance all of those things. So as a wish, I want to remember to do more robots. Basically, is really what it comes down to.
Okay.
And I like the variety of characters. I really liked how you all kind of pushed the character creation in really interesting directions, even in such a short period of time. My style is, as a GM, is to ask a lot of questions and get some input. And you all were super into doing that. And I love that a lot. Sorry, Tom?
Questions are a real feature in PBTA generally.
Right.
Pump your players for info.
Yes. Yeah, when I started playing PBTA and started to come to understand that, I was like, I think I've come home. Like, I think I found the style of play that suits me the best. So, anyway, I think that's it for me. And again, I'm just grateful to all of you for taking a chance on this little weird game that I made. So we are at the end of our time. I want to
Yeah.
ask one more
One
question.
quick wish.
Yeah, of course.
I'm seeing interact with robots. We interacted with them, but a little too deadly. We didn't program them or anything. More time, we would have gotten into that maybe.
Oh yeah, definitely. I always
Okay.
like
Just a mention.
a good robot for comic relief. So
Yeah.
So just one more question for you. Is it okay if I post this recording to the internet so my mom could watch it? Fantastic. Thank you very much. And I hope you have good rest of your games on the Gauntlet. Thanks so much for playing.
Post us. Would you